This is Tim from Xp1 wood seat sewing machines. If you have problems with the frames being too tight into the machine where you can't get them in and out easily, or they're too loose and the frame is popping out of the track, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way of doing it. You're going to need a pair of pliers and a Phillips screwdriver, and I'll show you what screws you need to remove. So we've turned over the embroidery unit, and you're going to need to remove 4 Phillips screws. There's one in here, one in here, and the same on the other side. Take all the screws out of the 4 holes, and then to get the casing off, it slots in, so just lift the plastic up and slide away from you and it'll come out of the casing. That's your first one out. And then the same on the opposite side, exactly the same, only that it's a bigger casing. And then when you've removed those, there'll be 2 Phillips screws, one in either end. This is one screw, and the other again is exactly the same. So I'll just take this screw out of this end, just to get the white cover off the top of the embroidery unit. So that's one side. I'm just going to take the other side off, and then we'll take the embroidery unit over. This side I'm taking off now has got the motor, the digital motor and connectors for everything under there, but there's nothing to worry about to take any of that off. We just need the cover off, and then the screw out of the end. Now we can turn the embroidery unit back over and work on it from the other side. As you do, you're gonna the top's going to come off anyway, and you'll leave that behind. So that's going to come off, and we can turn it over. Now to the embroidery unit. It's to the cover here, which is the piece that we need to remove so we can see the springs. And there's a Phillips screw on top here, and then in the far end there's a Phillips screw there. So this end one, you just need to release it. Don't take it all the way out. And then the top one, take that one all the way out. Take the screw out. And then the cover simply lifts off and comes off like that. And you can see that one just holds it in. Now everything becomes clear, because you can actually see the 2 springs what press down onto the frame that hold the frame in place. So if I insert this frame into this one, underneath all the frames is a track groove. There's one at either end. So as that goes into this metal ridge here, it goes all the way through. That is to stop the frame from pulling out. So that goes in one end, shove it all the way in, and you can see what's holding it in place are these 2, what I would call like a butterfly spring. So the more that they're bent down, the more pressure there's going to be holding this into the groove. If these are bent up and they're too loose, the groove in the bottom won't hold the actual frame, and the frame, if that's up, it will just pop out of the groove. This one's tight, so it won't come out. But if I take it to that position where there is no spring, you can see what will happen. If the spring is too tight, too loose and squashed up too high, this will slide out of the groove, and you can see the groove. If I put my finger on that there, you can see it easy. Slides all the way in. The spring on the end here is the positioning spring. So when you use the lock lever and you pull the lock lever down, the lock lever, this puts some tension to keep everything nice and tight. The lock lever stays in place. So take the frame out, and if they're tight, it's very straightforward. Simply squeeze the 2 butterfly springs slightly to take some of the pressure off. Retry your hoop inside, see if it feels easier. If it's too sloppy and it's popping out of the groove in any position, so it's just popping out like that, bend this slightly downhill again to put some more pressure on, slide it all the way in, make sure you can't pull it out the track, and then it's a simple process of putting back together as we took apart. So this will come back out, the grey part goes on top, and of course you can see the groove in the end where that goes. Simply slides on, goes down on top, screw goes in from above. You can tighten this one up, and then the one from the end. Once this is in place, it's a simple process. Putting the white arm back on top, it's the frame arm cover. This will go back in place, put the 2 screws into the end, turn the unit over the other way. The caps simply go on and slide in on either side, put your 4 screws in. It's very straightforward. Any problems, give us a ring.